Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Grow Leadership and Wellbeing podcast. I'm your host, Ben, and today episode is one of the biggest conversations we've had on this podcast. We are talking about depression, not just sadness, not just having a rough day, but we are talking about the kind of heaviness that can slowly drain your energy, your motivation, your confidence, and sometimes even your hope. We're going to talk honestly today. We're going to talk about how people can slowly end up in this state. We're going to talk about what depression actually feels like, why it's so hard to ask for help, and some small but powerful ways people can begin finding themselves again. In today's pod, we're also going to be sharing stories, audience questions, reflective moments, and support services that can genuinely help. And before we begin, if you are listening to this and you are struggling right now, I want you to know the following. This episode is not here to judge you at all. It's here to sit beside you. So wherever you are right now, driving, laying in bed, walking, by yourself, I just want to say thank you for being here. So the first part of the pod, we're going to talk about what depression really looks like. One thing I think society gets wrong about depression is people think it always looks obvious. They imagine someone constantly crying, unable to function, but depression can actually look incredibly normal from the outside. Some people still just go to work. Some go to school. Some continue to smile. And some even still make jokes. Some still post on social media like everything's okay. But the problem is, it's all happening internally. People feel exhausted, disconnected, numb, and stuck. And sometimes the scariest part is you don't even know when it all started. I think a lot of people slowly drift into depression without realizing it. Maybe life has just become overwhelming. Maybe stress just keeps on building. Maybe, just maybe, you found time to stop talking about what you were feeling. And eventually, we survive, and surviving becomes exhausting. Now, there are many moments in my life that I can look completely okay on the outside. But we all go through this. We all find that internally we're fighting battles that no one can see. The problem is you still show up, you still function, but mentally you are tired. Tired from thinking, tired from overthinking, tired from pretending, and tired from carrying everything quietly. So, how do we end up here? So, how does actually someone get in a form of depression? And honestly, there usually isn't just one reason. Sometimes it's stress, sometimes it's loneliness, sometimes it's grief. Sometimes it's just years of pressure. Sometimes it's constantly feeling like you are not enough. And for young people especially, social media has changed absolutely everything. Now, obviously, when I was a kid, this was not really around. But what happens nowadays is we compare our real lives to everyone else's highlight reel. Spoken about this before. What we are doing is we are seeing people who succeed. We are seeing people who are smiling. We are seeing people who are traveling and achieving. Meanwhile, we're sitting there feeling completely stuck. And what happens is we start believing that everyone else has their life figured out except for us. Now, highlight reel versus reality reel are completely different things. The highlight reel are the things that we just post that makes us feel good, that there's an achievement that's happened, that something awesome is happening. Imagine if we posted stuff about reality. People would actually be able to connect more. But who wants to post about reality? Who wants to post that they're sad or struggling or not achieving the goals that they want to? No one. So, what I want to say for teenagers and young people, depression can come from so many different places. Definitely school pressure. Bullying, friendship dramas, and feeling isolated. It can be family struggles. It can be fear of failure. We might even be struggling with our own identity or simply just feeling misunderstood. And you know what the scary part is? A lot of young people become experts at hiding it. Let me tell you a story. There was a teenage football player. Everyone thought that they had it together. He was so talented, he was popular, and he was competitive. But one day, he ended up getting injured in one of the games that we played. And then what happened? He stopped enjoying the sport. He became so much more quieter and he pulled away from his teammates because he actually started doubting himself constantly. The thing is, instead of actually talking about it, he hid it because he thought asking for help would make him look weak. One day, myself, I noticed something. Not because he had said anything, but because he stopped looking like himself. All I did was just pull them aside privately and simply asked, "You okay?" And honestly, sometimes those two words can save someone. I want you to think about that. If someone doesn't look themselves, ask them if that they are okay. And honestly, because those two words can save someone's life. So we question this. Why is asking for help so hard? One of the hardest parts about depression is asking for help because depression lies to people. It tells them no one cares, they are a burden, they'll be judged, and they should just toughen up. Especially for boys and men. We've created this idea that struggling emotionally somehow makes you weak. But the truth is, staying silent whilst drowning is not a strength and is not being strong. You have to find trusted people in your life. And that's where the healing starts with just one honest conversation. Now, that can be a parent, a teacher, a coach, a friend, a school counselor, or a counselor outside of school. It needs to be someone safe. And if the person doesn't understand, keep trying because the right person will stop and will listen. Got a few questions that have come in, and this one's come in from one of our young listeners and says, "What if nobody understands what I'm feeling?" Well, the thing is, I think one of the loneliest feelings in depression is believing nobody gets you. But I'll tell you this, I promise you this, there are people who understand. Sometimes we just haven't found them yet. The next one's a big one. So someone has noticed that one of their friends has depression, and they've asked, "How do I help my friend?" You know what? You don't need the perfect words. You don't need to magically fix them. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, "I'm here." Make sure you just check in regularly. Invite them to places. Sit with them. Most importantly, don't disappear just because they are struggling. Like I said to you before, ask them, "Are you okay?" You might save their life. The next one is what if I don't know why I feel depressed? And you know, the thing is, that's actually so much more common than people think. Sometimes depression builds slowly over time. It's called emotional exhaustion, stress, loneliness, burnt out. And the thing is, it piles up so quickly. You know, one of the things that's helped reduce stigma around mental health is seeing public figures speak openly. I've spoken to the likes of Dwayne Johnson. I've spoken to the likes of Michael Phelps and Lady Gaga. These are incredibly successful people. Yet, they have also struggled mentally, which actually tells us something. Depression doesn't care how successful you are. I want to share another story with you. And there was a story about a student who slowly stopped participating in class. Their grades dropped, they isolated themselves, they ate lunch alone. And you know what? Most people ignored it. Now, the reason why I'm sharing these stories is because it doesn't take much for someone just to notice. And I remember seeing this student. And I just made sure that I checked in. It was nothing dramatic, and it was just consistency. And you know what? Years and years later, even once they had finished school, that student admitted the following: knowing someone like yourself noticed me helped me keep alive. It's really important to never underestimate kindness. And when I see these messages, it just goes to show all we need to do is just do those check-ins. We don't need to be over the top. We just need to take time for those who are around us. I really appreciate this person sending this in because, knowing that what we do now, it's important to make sure that we noticed. So thank you so much for writing in. So what are some of the practical ways we can start healing? It's about the small things. Now, I know this is not going to work for everyone, but journaling can be such an incredible thing and it can be so powerful. And I know you're thinking, I don't want to write things down, but it's not because it magically fixes everything. It actually helps release thoughts instead of carrying them all day. So some journal prompts you could do are: what has drained me today? What has helped me today? What am I grateful? And what do I need right now? And I know I always refer to this, but gratitude. Gratitude does not mean pretending life is perfect. You know what? Sometimes gratitude during depression looks like this: I'm grateful for the fact that I got out of bed today. I'm grateful that I survived another day. I'm grateful that someone checked on me today. I'm grateful for the sunset because it looks nice. Because tiny moments actually matter. Another thing that is really important is movement. Movement is motivation because you need to be it's not because you need to become some sort of fitness influencer, but because the body and mind are so connected. I've said before, motivation, you don't sit there and wait for it. Movement is your motivator. And if that means you just go for a little stroll, play a bit of sport, doing some stretching, head outside and get some fresh air, because small movement can shift your mental state. Most importantly, the community, because the community matters. Sometimes healing begins when people stop isolating themselves. There's places like Kids Helpline, Lifeline Australia, Beyond Blue, Headspace, and even the support down at Minnawarra House. Places like community houses, support groups, youth centres, and mental health services remind people that they are not alone. Now, I want everyone listening right now to think about this. How many people around us are carrying silent battles? The friend who suddenly became distant, the student sitting quietly, the parent overwhelmed by life, the person always saying they are just tired. We never fully know what someone is carrying. And if that person is you, please hear this. Your current chapter is not your entire story. Depression convinces people that nothing will change, that things are hopeless, but healing often starts quietly. One conversation, one journal entry, one walk, one honest moment, one decision to keep going. And if you do not need to rebuild your whole life tonight. You just need to take one step forward. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you be kind to yourself, check on your people, and don't forget to check in on yourself too. See you next time.